They expected doctors. Humans sent dreadnoughts. Part 1. The Desperate Call. The emergency klaxons screamed through the halls of the Galactic Medical Alliance headquarters with a sound that made even the most experienced healers stop breathing. High Counselor Nexus dropped his morning nutrition cube and rushed toward the crisis center, his forearms moving in practiced coordination as he activated multiple communication devices. The red warning lights painted everything in blood-colored shadows, and Nexus knew that somewhere in the galaxy, an entire civilization was facing extinction. The crisis center buzzed with controlled panic. Technicians from a dozen different species worked frantically at holographic displays that showed star charts, medical data streams, and population statistics that were dropping by the minute. The main display screen dominated the room, currently, showing a tactical map of the Outer Rim territories where most medical emergencies seem to happen these days. Nexus approached his chief medical coordinator, a tall crystalline being named Zara, whose species had been fighting diseases for over 3,000 years. Her normally calm blue glow was flickering with anxiety. Never a good sign when dealing with someone whose people had seen every plague the galaxy could produce. "Report," Nexus commanded, his voice carrying the authority of someone who had coordinated medical responses to 47 major biological crises during his career. "It's the Zephyrian system," Zara replied, her crystalline voice resonating with harmonics that conveyed both urgency and deep concern. "Ambassador Thylan sent the distress signal 37 minutes ago. The situation is beyond anything we've encountered before." The main screen flickered and changed to show the Zephyrian homeworld. What Nexus saw made his heart sink. The planet that should have been glowing with the warm lights of billions of inhabitants now showed vast dark areas where cities had gone silent. Atmospheric scans revealed massive population centers that registered no life signs whatsoever. "Show me the message," Nexus ordered. The screen shifted to display Ambassador Thylan, a member of the Zephyrian species known throughout the galaxy for their peaceful nature and incredible artistic abilities. The Zephyrians looked almost human, but with elongated features and skin that shimmered with natural bioluminescent patterns that reflected their emotions. Thylan's patterns were dim and erratic, showing the kind of emotional distress that Zephyrians only experienced during their worst nightmares. "Galactic Medical Alliance," Thylan began, her voice shaking with exhaustion and barely controlled terror. "We are dying. Our people are dying. 3 months ago, a plague appeared in our outer colonies. We thought it was a natural occurrence, something our healers could handle with traditional treatments. We were catastrophically wrong." The image behind Thylan showed scenes from Zephyrian medical facilities. Bodies lay on every available surface, many covered with strange geometric patterns that seemed to pulse with dark energy. The few Zephyrians still alive moved with the slow, deliberate motions of people who knew they were living on borrowed time. "This disease adapts faster than anything our science can explain," Thylan continued. "Every treatment we develop, every cure we discover, the plague changes to resist it within hours. It spreads through the air, through water, through direct contact. Our population of 12 billion has been reduced to less than 2 billion in 90 standard days." Nexus felt his stomach's clench. 12 billion to 2 billion in 3 months meant this plague was killing faster than most military weapons could manage. This wasn't just a medical emergency. It was watching an entire civilization vanish in real time. "We have exhausted every option," Thylan said, and her bioluminescent patterns flickered with colors that Nexus recognized as the Zephyrian equivalent of crying. "Our greatest healers are dead. Our most advanced medical facilities have been abandoned. Our ancient remedies, passed down for thousands of years, are useless against this horror. If no one helps us within the next few weeks, the Zephyrian people will exist only in galactic history databases." The message continued with technical data about the plague's behavior, but Nexus was already moving to his command station. He had seen enough biological crises to know when a situation was beyond the capabilities of traditional medical intervention. This plague wasn't just aggressive, it was intelligently aggressive. "What medical assets do we have available?" Nexus asked his staff. Zara consulted her displays with the efficient movements of someone who had been coordinating medical responses for decades. The Altarian medical fleet is dealing with the radiation poisoning crisis in the Beta sector. The Centaurian hospital ships are committed to the volcanic emergency on Proxima 7. The Andromedan healers are, she paused, checking multiple data streams, still recovering from their own plague outbreak last year. What about the Crystalline Confederacy? Nexus asked, referring to Zara's own people. Our medical capabilities are primarily suited for silicon-based life forms, Zara replied. The Zephyrians are carbon-based with biological systems similar to the humans. Nexus paused. The humans. Earth species had joined the Galactic Medical Alliance only 8 years ago, and most of the older civilizations still considered them to be primitive newcomers with little to offer the galaxy's medical community. But their record since joining had been remarkable. Pull up the human medical database, Nexus ordered. The display screen changed to show Earth's medical achievements since joining the Alliance. The list was extensive and impressive. Successful treatments for 17 different plague types, innovative surgical techniques that had saved thousands of lives, and something called aggressive intervention protocols that other species found disturbing but undeniably effective. What caught Nexus's attention was a note about human medical philosophy. Unlike most galactic species who approach disease as a natural phenomenon to be understood and gently redirected, humans treated illness as an enemy to be destroyed. They didn't negotiate with diseases. They declared war on them. The humans also have something unique, Zara added, highlighting a section of the database. They're the only species in the Alliance that integrates their military and medical operations. Their hospital ships travel with armed escorts, and their medical personnel are trained in combat situations. Most species in the galaxy found this integration disturbing. Healing and warfare were considered fundamentally incompatible by nearly every civilization except Earth. But Nexus was beginning to wonder if the humans might have developed this system for reasons the rest of the galaxy hadn't considered. Open a priority communication channel to Earth, Nexus commanded. The response came quickly, but instead of the medical official Nexus expected, the screen showed a human in military uniform. The woman appeared to be in her 40s, with short, black hair and dark eyes that suggested she had seen combat. Her uniform displayed rank insignia that Nexus's database identified as belonging to an admiral. "This is Admiral Sarah Chen of Earth Defense Command," the human said. "We received your priority medical emergency signal. What's the situation?" Nexus was momentarily confused. He had expected to speak with Earth's chief medical officer, not a military commander. "Admiral, I am High Counselor Nexus of the Galactic Medical Alliance. We have a species facing extinction from a plague and require immediate medical assistance." Admiral Chen's expression became intensely focused. "How bad are we talking?" 10 billion casualties in 3 months. The disease adapts to every treatment faster than medical teams can develop new approaches. The Zephyrian civilization will be extinct within weeks without intervention. Chen was quiet for a moment, apparently processing the information. "I'll need detailed medical data, tactical information about the affected system, and a complete threat assessment before we can respond." "Threat assessment?" Nexus asked, confused. "Admiral, this is a medical emergency. The Zephyrians are dying, not fighting." Chen's eyes narrowed slightly. "Counselor, in my experience, any situation desperate enough to cause extinction-level casualties tends to attract predators. Pirate fleets, opportunistic raiders, and hostile governments often target civilizations when they're too weak to defend themselves. Has anyone verified that this plague is natural?" The question hit Nexus like a physical blow. In 8 decades of coordinating medical responses, he had never considered that a plague might be artificial. Diseases were natural phenomena, weren't they? The idea that someone might deliberately create something this destructive seemed unthinkable. "Admiral, we assumed the plague was a natural occurrence," Nexus replied slowly. "Never assume anything when dealing with extinction-level events," Chen said. "We'll send our medical response team, but they'll travel with appropriate protection. I'll have a deployment plan for you within 12 hours. The communication ended, leaving Nexus staring at a blank screen. He had expected Earth to send hospital ships and medical teams. Instead, it sounded like they were preparing for war. 12. Hours later, Admiral Chen contacted the Medical Alliance again. This time she was accompanied by 2 other humans, a man in medical uniform and a woman in military dress. "Counselor Nexus," Chen began, "I'm ready to present our response plan. With me are Dr. Marcus Webb, our Chief Medical Officer, and Captain Elena Vasquez, who will command our escort fleet." "Escort fleet?" Nexus asked. Dr. Webb spoke up. "Admiral, Chen and I have reviewed the medical data from the Zephyrian plague. The adaptation rate is beyond anything natural selection could produce. This disease was engineered." "Engineered?" Nexus repeated, the word feeling strange in his mouth. "Someone created this plague as a weapon," Captain Vasquez added. "The question is who and why. But our immediate concern is that whoever did this might still be in the area, waiting for the Zephyrians to become completely defenseless." "Admiral," Chen activated a holographic display showing the human response plan. "We're deploying the hospital ship Mercy with our best medical teams and most advanced treatment capabilities. However, the Mercy will be escorted by 3 heavy cruisers and 2 carrier groups." Nexus studied the tactical display with growing alarm. The human fleet was massive, designed for major military operations rather than medical assistance. "Admiral, this looks like an invasion force, not a medical mission." "It's a medical mission with the ability to defend itself," Chen replied. "If this plague is artificial, then someone with the technology to create biological weapons might not appreciate us interfering with their plans. The other Alliance members won't understand this approach," Nexus warned. "Most species separate their medical and military functions completely." Dr. Webb leaned forward. "With respect, Counselor, most species haven't spent their entire evolutionary history fighting diseases that wanted to kill them. On Earth, we learned long ago that sometimes the greatest act of healing is preventing harm in the first place." Admiral Chen stood up. "Counselor, we're going to save the Zephyrians, but we're going to do it our way, which means our medical teams stay protected. If that makes other species uncomfortable, they're welcome to file a complaint after we've prevented an extinction." 6 days later, the human fleet dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Zephyrian system. The massive dreadnoughts appeared first, their hulls bristling with weapon systems that could crack planets. The carrier ships followed, already launching fighter squadrons in defensive formations. At the center of the formation, protected by layers of military vessels, traveled the hospital ship Mercy. On the Zephyrian homeworld, Ambassador Thailand received sensor reports of the arriving fleet with a mixture of hope and terror. She had asked for medical assistance and received what looked like the largest military force ever assembled in her system. "Ambassador," her sensor technician reported, "the energy signatures from those ships are beyond our measurement capabilities. The lead vessel alone has enough firepower to destroy our entire planet." Thailand activated the communication system with trembling hands. When the human admiral appeared on her screen, she could see the bridge of a warship behind her, with officers in combat uniforms working at weapon control stations. "Admiral Chen," Thailand began, "we asked for medical help. Why have you brought warships to our dying world?" Chen's expression was serious, but not threatening. "Ambassador, we brought the best medical team in the galaxy to cure your plague. The warships are here to make sure our doctors stay alive long enough to do their job." "But we have no enemies," Thailand protested. "We are a peaceful people. We have no military, no weapons, no threats to anyone." "That's exactly why you need protection." Dr. Webb's voice came from off-screen. "Ambassador, we believe your plague was artificially created. Someone wanted your people dead, and they might not appreciate us interfering with their plans." As if summoned by his words, alarms began blaring throughout the Zephyrian system. Long-range sensors detected a massive fleet dropping out of hyperspace. On the opposite side of the system, the newcomers' ships were sleek and predatory, designed for conquest rather than exploration. Captain Vasquez's voice came over the communication channel. "Admiral, we have company. 60-plus hostile vessels. Configuration matches Vorthan Empire battle groups. They're moving to intercept us." Admiral Chen smiled grimly. Looks like our paranoia was justified, Ambassador. The Vorthans have been waiting for your people to become too weak to resist. They probably plan to move in and claim your system once the plague finished its work. Thylan's bioluminescent patterns flashed with colors that conveyed understanding and gratitude. The humans hadn't brought warships to conquer her people. They had brought warships to save them. When healing requires fighting, Dr. Marcus Webb worked frantically in the medical laboratories aboard the hospital ship Mercy, while the human fleet prepared for battle around him. The Zephyrian plague samples he had been studying revealed their secrets under his advanced analysis equipment. And what he discovered made his blood run cold. This disease wasn't just artificial, it was a masterpiece of biological warfare. Admiral, Webb called over the ship's communication system. I've got confirmation. This plague was definitely engineered, and it's sophisticated beyond anything I've seen before. Whoever created this has technology that rivals our own. Admiral Chen's voice crackled back through the speakers. Can you cure it, Doctor? Webb studied the complex molecular structures displayed on his holographic screens. The plague organism was like nothing in nature, with adaptive mechanisms that seemed almost intelligent. But human medical science had advantages that its creators probably hadn't anticipated. I can cure it, Webb replied, but I need time. The treatment will require synthesizing compounds that don't exist naturally, and I'll need to modify our medical nanobots to deliver targeted therapy. Give me 6 hours. Doctor, Captain Vasquez's voice interrupted. Enemy fleet will be in weapons range in 4 hours. Can you work while we're under fire? Webb looked around his medical laboratory, filled with delicate equipment and sensitive chemical processes. Combat situations weren't ideal for precision medical work, but humans had learned to adapt to less than perfect conditions. I'll manage, Webb said. Just try to keep the explosions to a minimum. On the bridge of the Dreadnought, Retribution, Admiral Chen studied tactical displays showing the approaching Vorthon fleet. The Vorthans were a militaristic species known for their expansion tactics and willingness to use biological weapons against defenseless populations. Their fleet was large and well-armed, but Chen had been planning for this scenario since leaving Earth. Captain Vasquez, deploy the fleet in defensive formation around the Mercy, Chen ordered. Launch all fighters and prepare for sustained combat. We're not leaving this system until every Zephyrian is cured. The space around the Zephyrian homeworld erupted into chaos as 2 massive fleets engaged in combat. The Vorthon ships attacked with the confidence of predators who expected easy prey, but they quickly discovered that humans approached warfare with the same intensity they brought to everything else. Human fighter squadrons struck first, hitting the Vorthon formation with coordinated attacks that disrupted their battle lines. The carriers Phoenix and Eagle launched wave after wave of bombers, targeting the enemy's heavy ships with precision strikes that maximized damage while conserving human resources. Enemy flagship is moving to engage the Retribution, reported the tactical officer. Let them come, Admiral Chen replied. All ships, execute pattern Delta 7. Show these Vorthons why humans don't separate healing from fighting. The human dreadnoughts moved with deadly precision, their massive weapon systems coordinating to create overlapping fields of fire. The Vorthon ships found themselves caught in tactical situations they hadn't anticipated, facing an enemy that fought with both scientific precision and savage determination. But the most impressive sight was the hospital ship Mercy continuing its medical mission while battle raged around it. Zephyrian civilian ships approached under the protection of human fighter escorts, bringing plague victims to receive treatment while explosions lit up the space nearby. Dr. Webb had managed to synthesize his cure and was already treating the first group of Zephyrian patients when the battle reached its climax. The Vorthon commander, General Vorthak, had apparently decided that if he couldn't claim the Zephyrian system for himself, he would at least prevent the humans from saving its inhabitants. Admiral, Captain Vasquez reported, enemy commander is targeting the Mercy directly. He's breaking through our defensive lines.